So, what are healthy examples of masculinity? I've had lots of discussions in my career as a health educator abroad, as well as a racial justice facilitator here in the United States, about this. My own opinion is this: the long term win is to recognize that neither gender has monopoly on virtues, attributes, or opportunities. What makes us good men and good women are the same things, the things that make us good humans. The principles of virtue are not gender specific, period. And yet, I do believe that there are some characteristics that are, on average, more prevalent in men versus women and vice versa. I know this puts me at odds with some of my progressive friends who are of the school that all of gender is performance and that our notions of masculine and feminine need to be more expansive and inclusive. To that I say yes, but I also say, looking at our brains, it's obvious that we're hardwired differently. So some practices, behaviors, and patterns will show up in men and women differently. We're ignoring the lived experience of so many people if we insist otherwise. We do need to allow that there can be wide variation within these gender categories. Women might have a more extreme startle response than men, but not all women and not all men. These are averages and norms, and there are exceptions and outliers to all of them. If that sounds like I'm contradicting myself, then and yes, I am. I say this because I believe that life is complicated and truth can be paradoxical. I fall back on Carl Jung, who said of this that paradox is the only way to truly incorporate all the complexities of life. So I try to be flexible. When I'm facilitating these discussions about masculinity, I try to recognize where people are in their background, in their cultural context, in their current journey. When I've been working around gender and masculinity, in particular in cultures where traditional roles of gender are more ingrained, freedom in redefining male and female is not an option. That's just reality. It's also meeting people where they are and ultimately respecting their choices without moralizing. So when working in a more traditional context or culture, I have to start with baby steps, walking before we can run. Because remember, we move the needle of change by degrees, not giant sweeps. And sometimes we don't move it at all. Sometimes people are fine with the status quo, and we have to respect that. And that's hard. I would say respect for people who don't want to hear this message has been lacking at times. As a result, progressives on the left have alienated a lot of folks who don't fall in with their line of thinking. And that's a shame, but it's a fact. What's missing in many of our historical discussions and current discussions on the progressive left about toxic masculinity, what I call impossible masculinity, is that we've been all stick and no carrot. We've told boys and men what not to do, but not what to do. And when I say stick, I mean it. We have really been hard on men and boys. We've blamed them for all the world's problems. That's not the answer. It brings to mind for me the African proverb that a child who is not embraced by their village will burn it down to feel its warmth. And with so many young people, especially young men, gravitating towards extreme political parties on the right and following nihilistic, misogynistic manfluencers, we're seeing the result of that. We're seeing the result of being all stick and moralizing in the judgment and lacking compassion in our approach to young men. It's left these young men in an impossible bind. They're told they're the problem, but no one offers a solution except tell them that they aren't welcome. So for being responsible, we must present some alternative to masculinity, to impossible masculinity that is positive and welcoming, that is concrete and practical. To simply tell men what not to do without modeling what to do is to leave them to flounder. We can't take away the old model and leave a vacuum in its place. We must present new models to follow, or misogynists will fill it for us. So we need to give people a map. My mentor Terry calls this the stop sign phenomenon. If you tell a new driver that all there is to driving is to not run into the stop signs, sure, they will know what not to do. The stop signs will remain intact, but the new driver won't go anywhere useful. Give them a map. Tell them the rules of the road. Tell them to focus on that. And that is the only way they're going to meet and reach a meaningful destination. I like taking examples from the recovery community here. Think of Alcoholics Anonymous. If AA were just a program that told addicts and alcoholics not to drink, it would fail. People tried that for centuries. It didn't work. It was abstinence from alcohol plus the program of 12-step recovery and spiritual change that made personal transformation possible. It wasn't just what not to do, it was what to do. That's why I keep coming back to the value of a positive message and a safe place to start from in defining masculinity. For me, that definition, that starting place is do no harm, care for, and protect others. Does that seem like a good starting place to you? Let me know what you think in the comments.